My name is Helen Johnstone and I'm a health improvement practitioner focusing on injury prevention, and I'm here today to talk to you about how you can prevent burns and scalds in your family household. Family life at the moment is certainly not easy. We are home teaching, entertaining, non-stop making of breakfast, lunch and dinner, and clearing up, in the meantime trying to maintain some sense of normality and grabbing a cup of tea when we can. With so much going on at home, it's not easy to spot the things that could burn or injure your child. But don't worry, today we're going to talk about some quick tips that can help you make sure that it doesn't happen to your child. Let's watch the video to see why it's so important.
I was at the door and almost straight away I heard Holly cry out.
I was at the sink and I heard him scream and I panicked.
I just heard a splash and I went cold.
Children are not like adults. They don't understand if their hand hurts, they should take it away. It's not a normal reflex for a child.
A burn injury very rarely ends in death, but unfortunately, a burn injury is for life. In 2019, 7,061 children were burnt or scalded, and this figure only relates to the most serious of burns and scalds and does not include the thousands that would have been seen by A&E departments. In Greater Manchester alone, 1,168 children in 2019 were burnt. From that, 367 were from contact burns from things such as hair straighteners, irons, or the oven. You can see just by looking at the month of August that 614 children were burnt or scalded nationally, and unfortunately the age group that's most at risk is the 0 to 2-year-olds. We're going to have a look at the top causes of those burns and what we can do to help prevent them. Hot drinks are one of the top causes of a burn or a scald, and the most vulnerable age group is the 8 to 18 months. Hot drinks such as tea and coffee can stay hot enough to scald a child even after 15 minutes of making it. So just remember to put your cuppa down in a safe spot out of the reach of little hands that can grab as soon as your back is turned. Get into the habit of putting your child down before you pick up your drink. Check your kitchen or your living room now for safe spots to think where can you put your hot drink down, and then you won't have to think about it each time. You'll just do it automatically. It's really hard not to be tempted to pick up your tea when your child is on your knee, but try to get into the habit of putting them down before you pick up your cuppa. One of the top areas that causes burn injuries is in the kitchen when you're cooking. And unfortunately, children don't automatically pull away from something that is burning them, and they may forget the rules about not touching hot things. So, put the kettle to the back of the worktop. Use the back rings of the cooker first and turn all pan handles in. If you can keep children out of the kitchen when you are cooking, then that will be one less thing for you to have to keep your eyes on. However, if this isn't possible, try to keep children strapped in high chairs or away from the cooker if they have to be in the kitchen. Another key area is when a child is having a bath. Bath water scalds can be really nasty and can happen in seconds. So, top tips are put cold water in first, then top up with hot. Test the temperature with your elbow, not your hands. A baby's skin is 15 times thinner than an adult's, so hot water can pose a real danger to children. If you put your elbow in first and then mix that water well to avoid hot spots. The key is to stay with your child just in case they decide to fiddle with any of the hot taps. Many scald accidents happen when a child gets into the bath before it's ready, or play with the hot tap when they're in the bath, or lean over to pick out a toy and because it's fallen in. It only takes a minute, and bath water can cause such bad burns that your child may need years of treatment and maybe be scarred for life. So stay with your child at all times when they're in the bath, means that you can keep them safe and also have quality time. As we saw before, hair straighteners are a real danger to children. They can get as hot as your iron, which is 235 degrees. And unfortunately, they can still burn 15 minutes after they've been switched off. So the key here is to keep straighteners and wands out of reach when not in use. If you can, put them in a heat-proof pouch or on a high shelf to cool, and stop little ones from playing with them, touching or stepping on them. Fires and heaters can cause a risk to small children, so move the cots away from the radiator. Then your baby cannot get their arm or leg trapped against the heat. If you can fit fire guards around heaters and fires, this is really useful. As we know, dancing flames can be very appealing to children, so supervise young children. Candles are another area where children can get burnt. So matches and lighters can be very appealing to children, so keep them well out of reach or in a cupboard or drawer. Keep candles away from fancy dress costumes, as they can cause really severe burns. Burns can also happen outside of the home, and there are certain times of the year where this is more important. So for example, bonfires. Keep a safe distance and supervise carefully, because with the right supervision, children can enjoy the fun without being at risk. Barbecues can stay hot for a long time, so keep children out of the way. And if it's a disposable barbecue, tip a bucket of cold water to help it cool quicker. Fireworks. Never let an under 5 hold a sparkler, and never hold a baby while you're holding a sparkler. If you can, it's far safer to go to a public display than do your own. Let's watch this video to see what to do if you do have an emergency.
On average, A&E departments in England and Wales see around 100 children a day who have been burnt and scalded. The vast majority of those are under 5, and the majority of the burns and scalds that we see in A&E departments are from hot drinks like tea or coffee. So you'll get burns that will come down the side of the face, depending which side it was, onto their chest. If you think of a baby's chest and abdomen, a cup of tea can spread a long way. A younger child, their skin's much more precious, it's much more fragile. Just remember that after 30 minutes, your hot drink is still hot enough to burn a child. They can face days, weeks, months, even years of regular skin grafts, regular painkillers. They'll need regular input from specialist teams, from surgeons, regular general anaesthetics. All of these things carry risks. The vast majority of the burns that we see are preventable. The prevention is so easy. It doesn't take a second to do, to put the cup out of reach. That's all it takes. Children are usually one step ahead of their parents when it comes to the development. Parents are often caught out by the things that they can do. If you've made a cup of tea, put it well out of their reach. Children will reach out all of the time. They'll reach out to grab something, they'll move, they'll wriggle, and all of these things make you unstable. So if you've got a cup of tea in your hand, put it down before you pick your child up. Those two shouldn't be in your arms at the same time. If your child does get burnt or scalded, first thing to do is remove any clothing that's got the hot drink on. Discard that and then run the affected part of the body under cool water for 20 minutes. While you're doing that, call for help. Whether that's NHS Direct for some advice, your GP. If you're really concerned, phone 999 and get the ambulance service to come out to you. We recommend then that you cover it up with some cling film if you've got that in the house. If it's an extensive burn and you can't get the limb under cool running water, you can use a shower head. You can take the child into the shower or just use the shower head to run the cool water over them. It really is very simple. There's 3 steps: cool, call and cover. Keep your drinks out of reach and prevent children getting burned. You can stop this from happening.
So let's recap the 3 things to do if your child does suffer a burn or a scald. The first one is cool. Run lots of cool running water over the burn and do this for at least 20 minutes. Please make sure it's not freezing cold water. Then call 999 or 111 or your doctor for more medical help. And then finally, cover. Cover the burn with loose strips of cling film or clean, non-fluffy material, and this will stop it getting infected, and it's easier for a medic to have a look at how serious the burn is. So remember, don't wrap the cling film too tightly because the burn may become swollen. And covering the burn helps to prevent infection and loss of fluid. It also reduces the pain and protects any damage that the nerve endings may have been exposed. However, do not put honey, butter, cream, ice or toothpaste on a burn, as these can cause further damage, and please avoid fluffy material. Do not burst any of the blisters and do not touch the area. A parent's biggest mistake is overestimating a child's ability to understand and act consistently. Burns and scalds have the highest rate of admission to hospitals, so remember the top tips. A hot drink can take 15 minutes to cool down to a temperature that will not scald a child, so get into the habit of putting it up somewhere safe and never hold your drink and your child at the same time. When you're running a bath, put the cold water in first and then top up with the hot. And hair straighteners can still burn 8 minutes after being unplugged, so put them up safe or put them in a safe pouch. Remember, the top areas in your house are the kitchen, the living room and the bedroom. And unfortunately, Manchester has one of the highest rates for burns and scalds, so let's see if we can make sure we make a difference. Some safety equipment that can help. Fire guards can prevent young children from crawling or walking or falling onto fires. Thermostatic mixing valves can be fitted onto bath taps. They mix the hot and cold water to a safe temperature before it comes out of the tap, and you should encourage your landlord or housing provider to have them fitted. And finally, heat-proof bags for hair straighteners. They keep the burning hot straighteners away from young children's feet and fingers. And finally, don't believe the rumours circulating on social media that breathing in steam cures coronavirus. It doesn't. And small children are suffering horrible burns when they pour bowls of water over themselves. Thank you for taking the time for watching and listening.